Hi, everybody. Welcome to Busy Living Sober. And it is episode 295. 295, five away from 300 episodes. Crazy bus. And today we are sponsored by SoberLink. As we know, addiction is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Nearly 15 million people in the US have an alcohol use disorder, and that's alcohol only. Only 10% of those people get treatment. This can be attributed to the stigma that surrounds addiction and how people don't want to talk about it. SoberLink, just like Busy Living Sober, strives to erase the stigma of alcohol addiction. Their remote alcohol monitoring tool has helped over 500,000 people to be more accountable in their sobriety. Their voluntary system encourages connection and honesty, which helps to rebuild trust and maintain sobriety. I've teamed up with SoberLink to create a resource guide, tips for keeping busy living sober for those in recovery. And for you to, if you go visit www.soberlink.com/BLS for busy living sober, you can download that resource guide. And if you or someone you know can benefit from accountability for alcohol recovery, you'll also find a form on there for a $50 promo code. $50 promo code. Okay, so back to business. Thanks again, SoberLink, for sponsoring us. A couple weeks ago, maybe even last week or the week before, I also have asked people, I'm like, write to me. Let me know if there's topics you want me to talk about. And I'm really excited because I've had two people from Texas that I'm talking to right now that one I've been talking to for almost years now, or at least a year and a half. And the other one is brand new. And I just want to say hi to both of them. And my friend D, I'm just going to refer to her as D. I don't want to call her out. I didn't ask her previous to doing this if I could call her out, but I'm just going to call her D. And I'm going to say, D, your question was, and you wanted me to talk about friends and friendship and what happens when you get sober and how your friendships change and how sometimes we tend to feel more isolated, and we also tend to feel like, we're not included in things because we don't drink anymore. And I love this topic, Dee. And it's something that I have had to deal with for a long time now. And it's crazy, it's crazy. I think that the whole thing with education and the stigma that's associated with addiction would help change this. That's my only thing to say about changing the way that it is, because I only think that really talking about things and bringing things out of the shadows instead of them being bad, I think they're good. Obviously, getting sober is good, especially if you have a drinking problem. And even if your drinking problem wasn't evident to any of your friends, but you just knew about it yourself and you feel like your friends aren't supportive anymore, is a total bummer. And it totally has happened to me. It happened to me in the very beginning, and it still happens to me to this day. And you say, and you might sit there, be listening, going, oh my God, you got sober and you don't have friends? That sucks. Oh my God, why am I going to get sober if I'm not going to have my friends anymore? This is going to be horrible. What am I going to do? I'm going to get sober and nobody's want to hang out with me anymore. And that was one of my fears about getting sober, that I was going to not have friends anymore and I wasn't going to have fun anymore. And on the contrary, I feel like I had a lot more, and I'm putting air quotes if you're not watching me on YouTube or watching me on going to my website, which is on YouTube too, by the way. But I had a lot of friends, and I'm putting up these air quotes, friends. I knew everybody, right? I knew all these different people, especially when I was living in Philadelphia, in the suburbs of Philadelphia, where I raised my kids. I knew everybody. So I would go and I would close bars. I was at every black tie function, and I was very social. I did a lot of charity stuff, and I would show up, and I knew everybody, right? And people wanted me to sit with them and wanted me to have them at their table, wanted me to be at their tables and wanted to hang out with me. And then I decide that I can't drink anymore. Now I'm going to tell you, the first year of my not drinking, I didn't do anything, right? I was so trying to figure out who I was and what made me tick that I didn't really recognize that I wasn't going to stuff. I just said no, I'm busy or whatever. And I declined a lot of invitations, which I think also propels you to not get invited anymore if you decline invitations in the beginning, which I did. And I think a lot of us have to, because we have to, it's like rewiring our brain, right? It's rewiring the way we think, it's rewiring what we're doing. It's like, I got to take care of me. I hadn't taken care of me in my whole entire life. I had not known what made me tick, you know, until I got sober, right? I say this all the time. My favorite color was green, as you can see in my painting behind me, but it's actually orange. Orange is my other favorite color. And figuring out what made me tick. I always I wanted everybody to like me, right? I wanted everybody to be my friend. I wanted everybody to think I was fabulous. I wanted everybody to think I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I wanted all these things that that I wanted people to like me, right? I wanted people to like me. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of the popular group, don't we all? And part of that was drinking, and part of that was being a chameleon, and a part of that was figuring out what you wanted me to be more than what I wanted me to be, right? I'd watch people in a situation, and I'd do things like they did them because I wanted to be like them, right? Makes sense, right? I wanted to be like these other people, and how were they acting? What were their mannerisms? What did they drink? What didn't they drink? How did they hold their glass? What were they wearing? You know, I am a really, and I always have been a really big voyeur. I don't know if you call it a voyeur or someone that studies human beings or what you want to call it. I love going to train stations. I love going to airports. I love to watch people. I watch their mannerisms. I watch what they drink. Da, 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 da. So I would go to these parties and I'd be like what everybody else wanted me to be. So I'd wear the outfits, so I'd mix in, you know, it's just like we do in any other culture, right? I think we do it in all different societies. I think that when I was growing up, I wanted to be cool, right? I really want to be cool. And in the 80s, it was punk, right? I loved punk. I loved The Cure. I loved New Order. I loved U2. I loved all those bands. I loved Madonna. I loved Prince. So, you know, what did I do? I had really short hair and it was really punky and I could spike it up, and I would wear a blue jean jacket and I'd have like silk screens on the back of it. I was really big into wearing MC Hammer pants because everybody else was wearing them. Now, did they look good on me? I have no idea, but I just wanted to be cool, right? We want to be cool. We want to fit in. Drinking is part of that, right? That's why I think we all start drinking, right? Because we want to be cool. That's how it happens in high school. I remember with my kids, they wanted to go hang out with popular people. They're like, Mom, I want to go to this party where there's popular people. And I'd be like, are there going to be parents there? And they'd say, I don't know. And I'd say, well, I don't think you're going unless I call. And they'd be like, you're ruining it. And I'm like, I don't care. But is there going to be drinking there? And they'd say they wanted to go because there were no parents there and they could drink, right? And that's why they wanted to go. That's why I wanted to go. I wanted to go and I wanted to be cool and I wanted to fit in. And then you get included. And I hung out with, like, I guess you would call the popular people. And I I did, again, everything everybody else wanted me to do. So I had all these friends, air quote again, friends. So when I decided that I couldn't drink anymore because I hated myself when I drank, I'd come home, I'd be like, I have a hangover. What did I say yesterday? What did I do? Oh my God, I got myself in a situation that if I were sober, I wouldn't have got myself into, and I get sober. So then I stopped going. And so that year I take off that I just mentioned, and I went to the church basements and went to AA meetings because for me, I wanted to, at 12-step meetings, I wanted to make friends. Making friends was really important to me. I was like, I really have to make friends or I'm not going to be okay. And so I did that for the first year. I hung out with just people mostly that were sober. And then, you know, I had to get comfortable in my sobriety, and luckily I had little kids. So I was really busy going to a lot of sporting events, and then they would have events for my kids. They'd have, like, you go to sports, they'd have lacrosse, all the parents would get together for lacrosse, or all the parents would get together for the crew team or the tennis team or the football team or the tennis team, whatever it was. they'd have these socials, or they'd have these socials for the grade, right? They'd have everybody get together, or the whole class of this is getting together and they're raising money for the school or whatever. And I'd show up, and I was always, I've always been out about my sobriety, which I don't know is a detriment or if it's a positive. I think obviously now it's a positive because I'm helping so many people and I've been doing this podcast for 295 episodes. But I've always been someone that tells people that I don't drink anymore. And I know a lot of people don't believe in doing that, and that's cool, whatever your belief is. For me, it's like my safety net. If I tell you I'm not drinking, you're not going to offer me a drink, right? You're not going to keep coming over to me and saying, "Don't you want one? Don't you want one? Don't you want one?" It was like an extra barrier. It was like, okay, it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you're playing the quiet contest, and I always went, I lose, because I didn't want to have to like get myself in a situation that was hard, right? I didn't want to be in a hard situation where somebody's like, why aren't you drinking? And I have to make up all these lies why I'm not drinking, instead of just saying, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink anymore. And I was a big partier. So to say that, people obviously knew, oh my gosh, she's not drinking anymore. Why? And a lot of people, again, would not have associated me with the term alcoholic because alcoholic had such a negative connotation at that point. And so they're like, she's not an alcoholic. And so it became really crazy. I wasn't included in things like I used to be, and it sucked. It sucked. And then, with my kids, I always thought I thought I had two dings against me, to be completely honest. I thought, oh my God, people don't invite me out because A, I don't drink, and B, I'm single. So I was single mom. So who wants to invite the single mom to the party? Not very many people want to invite a girl to a party that's single, right? With all the husbands around, I don't care where you live. I think everybody gets a little, oh, I don't want her here because she's single and she's by herself. And what is she going to do? And so I wasn't invited then either. So then I was like, felt even more isolated and more like, oh my God, this sucks. Why doesn't anybody want to be my friend? Why doesn't anybody want to hang out with me? And in reality, I think now I look back, I I've kind of had an opportunity, especially where I live right now, to look into this friend thing. It's been hard. Okay. So when I moved first to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I moved there, and they have an amazing recovery community, and I made a ton of friends. It was really easy. I'd go to meetings. I made all these group of friends. And then not only that, but then it spread into my golf club. I made a lot of friends there because I golf a lot. So that was really fun. And then I moved here to Amelia Island, where I live right now. And I moved here, and not only is it not a big metropolitan area, which it's not. I mean, Fort Lauderdale is a huge town. It's a city, right? There's a big town. There's a lot of different diversity. There's a lot of different friends. But I moved to this island that's 13 miles long by 4 miles wide at the widest point. And it's like the size of Manhattan, but it definitely does not have the people like Manhattan. There's more nature than there is people, probably. There's definitely more birds, and there's definitely more seashells, that sort of thing, than there is people. And so we moved here, and it has been uncomfortable until like now. It's been like now. And it's been a year. It was a year. We moved here in March of 2021. So it's been a year and 2 months. We're going on 2 months right now. And March, yeah, April and May. I'm in May now. So it's really just been a year and a month. So it's been 13 months that I've lived here. And it's been hard. And it's been different. For one, the recovery community is definitely nothing I'm used to. I'm normally used to having there being meetings every hour, on the hour, wherever I can go, 24/7. I can go anywhere I want to a meeting and have any kind of topic I want. And God forbid, when I was in Fort Lauderdale, I could go to Miami, or I could go up to Palm Beach, or I could go to Boca Raton. I had many places I could go get meetings. And then when I lived in Philadelphia, I could go to New York, I could go to Delaware, I could go anywhere to get meetings. So I moved to this island, and it takes a good hour to get anywhere outside that's got city, right? It's an hour to get to Jacksonville, and it's 2 hours to get to Savannah. So And that's not really right. That's a lot to go to a meeting. So even though I can do it and I would do it, but I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I have not. Luckily, there's still Zoom meetings, but that's been hard because I haven't met any friends through there really. I have not made. I'm starting right now to make some friends in that community, in the 12-step community. But I thought I'd go to my golf club and I'd make friends there. But again, it's a big drinking community, right? It's a huge drinking. Country clubs are known to be big drinking communities, and clubs where they golf is a big. I don't care if it's just golf at that club. It's a bit. A lot of people drink with golf, and a lot of people drink with tennis, and a lot of people like to socialize, and it's all about the drink. And the unfortunate thing is I don't drink. I don't think it's an unfortunate thing. I'm going to lie. I'm going to take that back. The reality is I don't drink, and I'm not going to drink to be social. I'm not going to drink so that I can be in the in crowd at golf or to be in the in crowd at tennis. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. That is not up for debate. So what have I done? So I've tried to make friends with people that didn't drink as much as I thought. That, it's been eye-opening. It has been, I definitely have a closer relationship with my husband than I did before because I hang out with him a lot. He's like he's my bud. So luckily we live here in this house and we have a lot of the same things in common. So we can golf together, we can do those things together. I've also taken up, obviously, painting. I've been painting a lot more. And my group of friends, I have friends here now, but it's not a plethora. I'm not invited to every party, but and I don't go, even if I am invited, I don't go to everything because some things we might not be up for because we know it's a big drinking group. And that has been my choice. So probably I don't get included anymore either because if it's a big drinking crowd, I get bored really easily. And I would rather stay home and hang out with JF or talk to my kids or talk to other friends around the country or watch a movie, just to be honest. But it's a getting used to. It's always getting used to new things, right? It's always getting used to what it's like. Change is not comfortable for anyone. I don't care who you are. Change is not comfortable. And when you change and you move or you decide to do something totally different, it takes some time to get used to it, right? And it's taken me 13 months really to get okay with the fact, you know what, I really actually like where I live because it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. I went walking and I sent pictures on Instagram of like an alligator I saw. I saw a spoonbill. There's all different sorts of nature here that I did not have in any of those cities that I lived in. I did not have the nature like I have here. It's very calming. It's very quiet. It was getting used to. I didn't have fire engines going off all the time. I didn't have neighbors that were right next door that I could hear them. I didn't have people right on top of me. I don't have any of that right here. And it's been getting used to. So you get sober and your friend group changes, right? You decide to put down the drink and you kind of figure out, just like I figured out orange was my favorite color, I figure out what's important for me. Right? What is important to me at the end of the day? And I'll tell you right now what's important to me. For one, my sobriety is important to me. So I have to take care of that. Whatever way I need to take care of my mental health. That's my mental health, right? I got to take care of my mental health, which is in this head on my shoulders. That's number one. And I think that asking for help and talking to people is really important. I want to throw out, we had somebody that was a celebrity this week that died, and it was of mental health. And her daughters got up at the CMAs, I guess it was, and said, "Oh my God, we are so sad that our mom took her own life." And that's mental health. And that's what this whole thing is, by the way, of addiction and drinking. It's mental health, right? If you go to, and I'm just going to say this because if you go to your insurance company and you talk to them about getting help for alcoholism or drinking, it falls under the category, the umbrella of mental health. So how do I mentally take care of myself each and every day? I have to do that first and foremost before I do anything. Okay. So that's my mental health. So my mental health, For one, I go to therapy if I'm feeling like I need it. I have a therapist that I can call if I need to make an appointment. I actually sometimes I actually take antidepressants right now because it's helping me with dealing with anxiety that I was feeling when I first moved here because I was really out of control. So I used that to help me. I went and I talked to my doctor and they prescribed me an antidepressant, which has really been a game changer for me. And I take it religiously when I'm supposed to take it. And obviously, if you take an antidepressant and you don't drink, they actually work. And you don't do drugs, it works. It's crazy. If you just do that, what the doctor tells you to do, it makes you feel better. So I do that. And I talk to my friends all over the country and I paint and I hang out with my husband and I do exercise, whatever that is. And I talk to my kids. Luckily, my daughter's home right now until August. So she's around and I get to hang out with her. And that's something that I'm enjoying because when they go off to college, you think that it's like you look for this day that they're going to leave and they're going to go off to college. And you're like, yes, they're leaving. They're going to college. I'm going to get my own life. This is going to be so amazing. But let me tell you, you get a hole in your soul. At least I did. And so having this win that she's 24 and she's home before she goes to law school has been an amazing gift. And I'm embracing that and getting to know who I am. And the other thing I've been doing is I read, right? I read. I needlepoint as well, by the way. I needlepoint, I paint, and I do my podcast and I help people all over the country too. I help a lot of women, so I spend a lot of time on the phone with them. And that tends to really fill my soul as well. So I do that. And then I read. And I think that I've put this up there, but I'm going to show you the things that I read in the morning because I just think that they might. I'm going to show you the one thing I read in the morning, not many things I read in the morning. I read this book. And if you don't believe in God or you do believe in God, but I believe in God and it gives me solace to know that I'm not alone. And I know some people don't really want to be, for whatever reason, you don't believe in God. You can refer to God as an acronym is a good orderly direction instead of God and replace that in your head for me and then see in time how you feel about God. But for me, I read this book and it's called New Morning Mercies. And it is by Paul David Tripp. It's a daily gospel devotional. It's amazing. I have loved this book. I'm going to put a picture of it on in my comments so you can look for it. I got it on Amazon. It was delivered the next day. And again, it's called New Morning Mercies. And that really puts things into perspective for me when I start my day, because it always tends to be dealing with something that I'm dealing with at the same time, right? So that book is an amazing, amazing, amazing book. The other book that I have read for years is it's by Melody Beatty. And it is called, I'm going to tell you because Melody Beatty, it is called The Language of Letting Go. And The Language of Letting Go, they have an app for that as well. And especially if you're dealing with codependent stuff. And codependent stuff would be like friends, your spouse, and that again, that book always has things that would resonate with me, which I was like, God, did this person writing this book know exactly where I was in my life? It always seemed to tend that way. So The Language of Letting Go is an amazing book by Melody Beatty that will also help you get in right thinking. Okay. So those two things, they will take 2 seconds to read. You can read them on the phone. You can read them in the bathroom. So when you get up, you can also leave them for your spouse to read because maybe your spouse while they're in the bathroom could also read them, or your partner, and enjoy it. The last thing I want to tell you is this book, and it's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Okay, here's the picture of it. And it is by Charlie Mackesy, or whatever. This book is amazing. It is, it's what we talk about all the time in Busy Living Sober. It's about not taking yourself so seriously. It is about the relationships we have in our life. And I just went and I picked up the book right now because it's in front of me. And it doesn't even have page numbers. It's drawings, it's colors. So it's pictures. We all love pictures, right? Who wants to read all these these books. I know nobody wants to read anymore. So it's got a lot of pictures. It's not as much words as it is pictures. Every page has a picture. So I open the book and this is what it says. What do you think is the biggest waste of time? And this is a boy talking to a mole. What do you think is the biggest waste of time? And the mole says, comparing yourself to others. Brilliant. And then the next page, it says, I wonder if there is a school of unlearning. Wow. How do we rewire our brains to know that we are enough? How to rewire our brains to realize comparing how we feel on the inside to somebody's outside is not healthy? How do we unlearn that? How do we unlearn that it's not important to be popular? How do we learn that loving ourselves and loving our families is the most important thing? And anything you get after that is like gravy on the cake. It's gravy on the turkey or icing on the cake. How do we get to that place of unlearning this stuff that we've done for so long, which we thought made us quote unquote happy, but we were being there for everybody else instead of taking care of us? How do we get to that place of unlearning that and learning new things? By change. And change is uncomfortable, Dee. I know it's uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable to change. And it's so uncomfortable to feel like you're not popular and that you're not being included. It stinks. It stinks when you know, and especially with social media. I can tell you, I go to social media, I go to Facebook and I get in a bad mood. I'll tell you that right away. And if I get up in the morning and I look on Facebook or I could look on Instagram and I feel like I wasn't included in something, I feel like shit. I feel like shit. I feel sorry for myself. I have that pity party like I talked about last week. I feel like I'm less than. I feel like they're better than me. Why does this person have this house? Why does this person have this car? Why does this person have this kitchen? And people go up and put this stuff up because, well, I believe that people put this stuff up to say, look at me, I'm rich. Now you think I'm better than you. Now I'm better than you. But I put that up there and that gave me this second of feeling like I'm better because look, I'm showing you how rich and fancy I am. But if you're so rich and fancy, do you have to tell everybody? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think you have to tell everybody. I think that if you get a new car, who gives a shit? Okay, it works. If it's a fancy car, great, good for you. You've got a fancy car. Is it going to make, what are you doing that for? I don't know. Is it important? I thought for a long time it was important that I had to show you what I had so you would like me. Look at my car, look how fancy my car is, look at my fancy house, look at my fancy shoes, look at my fancy handbag. But on the inside, I felt horrible. I hated me. But I thought if I dressed myself up with all this stuff, I'd feel, good. Falling in love with yourself is an inside job. It's an inside job. One of my closest people in my entire life who helped me from the beginning of getting sober, pretty much, she used to say to me all the time, I'd always put on the outfit and everything else. And she'd say, I love you so much, Elizabeth, but this is not about the outsides. It's getting authentic with the insides. And that took time and it took energy, but eventually you find your people and you find that love inside of yourself to love you. And it takes time. It takes so much time. I can tell you, it takes time, years. And some days I fall back. And some days I want to put on the fancy shoes and I want to be able to walk up to somebody and say, see, I got this. Does that make me bad? It's like such ego. It's so bad. But I do it. And I can't lie to you and say that I don't. I want to get the nice handbag and say, see, look at my nice handbag. I don't want to put it on social media because I don't care that way. But when I'm walking around, it makes me feel better about me sometimes. And but it's very fleeting, right? It doesn't last forever. It's for a moment, not even. But what other people think about me is none of my business. If I have a loving marriage or a loving relationship with my partner, that's what really matters. How I feel about me on the insides, how I love myself is what's the most important thing. And not getting included is sometimes okay. It's sometimes okay, and sometimes we're not invited to the parties, and that's okay too. Make your own party. Number one, I have a handful of friends here, handful, literally a handful of friends, and they're all different ages, and they're all different. They're just different sex, and some are different and some are the same, but it's a handful. And I remember when I was growing up, my mom said to me, if you have 5 dear friends that you can count on, five, 5 real friends that I know I could call on the side of the road that would come pick me up, or who I know would listen to me and love me no matter what and do not judge me. If you have 5 of those, you're really lucky. And my mom was totally right, because I've had a lot of acquaintances in my life that I called my good friends that would never have shown up for me on the side of the road, would never have loved me unconditionally, would have definitely judged me, would have definitely talked behind my back. And I don't want to have those type of friends anymore. I just don't. Our life is small sometimes, and going and helping out with others, which I know a lot of you listeners do, is what you need to do. Help others, take care of you, take care of your family. Don't drink. Fall in love with you. Get these books: The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. It's really good. And New Morning Mercies. It's fabulous. And realize that you too can be happy if you choose to be. If you're not drinking, you can make that choice. You can make the choice of going, I'm going to be happy today. In this book, the boy, the mole, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the mouse. There's a point in there that the boy says, somebody said, "Oh, do you look at a glass half empty or do you look at a glass half full?" And the boy says, "I'm just grateful that I have a glass. I'm grateful that I have a glass today. I'm grateful that I have all of you. If you listened and you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to my channel. Please tell your friends about it. Please know that you're not alone." Dee, thank you again for bringing that topic to addressing that topic and telling me you guys wanted to hear about it. And I hope that this helped. Let me know if it did. Please reach out. Please know that you are not alone. Please know that you too are going to get better if you take time to take care of you. Fall in love with you, figure out what makes you tick, and know that you can come back here every week and you can write to me, and I promise you I will write you back. And you can reach me at busy, BIZZY, at busylivingsober.com. Now, or Elizabeth, ELIZABETH, at elizabethchance.com. Either one will get to me. And if you have a topic that you want me to discuss, please reach out to me. Say, I'm thinking about this. Me and my husband have been talking about this. Me and my wife have been talking about this. Me and my friend have been talking about this. Me and myself have been thinking about this, and I don't know how to deal with it. Write to me. I promise you I will address it. And please know that having a handful of friends, you'd be really lucky if you have 5 of those people that will pick you up on the side of the road at 2:00 in the morning if you had a flat tire. Think about it. And just know you're not alone. Reach out to me. And until next time, keep getting busy, living sober. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.